Hi everyone, my name is Alondra and I'm part of the partner management team here in Europe. For the people who actually know me, I usually talk about marketing. So as you can see, I'm slightly off topic today, but bear with me. And before I tell you a bit about myself and we start about going on this talk, feel free to scan this code. This code will take you to a pad where you can ask your questions, and I will make sure to go through them, so please don't hold back. Okay, so when I started Odoo 4 years ago, I was focused only on partner management. This, however, gave me a lot of insight into the challenges that partners face when scaling. And about a year ago, the head of partner management here in Europe actually gave me a super interesting task, was to become the recruitment expert for partners in general. So in order for me to deep dive into this new role, I dove into the recruitment process, so not only for hiring for our team, but also from the perspective of teams like consulting and support, and the fact that I was actually leading the interviews for partner managers in my team eventually led me to a special mission in Spain that I just came back from, where actually I recruited and I onboarded all the partner managers. And doing the interviews myself gave me a lot of insight into the challenges that partners actually face when going through this entire process. And I've been really able to step into your shoes, and I've even coached some partners on a bit of everything, like from sourcing to improving the recruitment process, and I'm really happy to share some of the insights and some of the key learnings with you today. So for today, we will be looking at pretty much three things. Mostly some of the top mistakes when it comes to recruitment process for partners, then some ideas on when it comes to hiring what I would call a Odoo winning team, and then also some sourcing ideas to attract your future team. And this is, so going back to my experience as a recruitment expert, and I'm sure this is not going to be a huge insight, but what I realized is that most of our partner network is struggling, whether it's finding the right business analyst, the right salesperson, the right technical profiles, and it's clear that finding talent is a major pain point for all of you. And today I want to explore why this is happening and actually what we could do to solve it together. In order for you to understand how to solve it, I want to tackle two points that actually create blocking points even before partners begin their recruitment process. So one of the reasons that partners sometimes struggle is that they're targeting the wrong profiles. What I mean by this is that partners sometimes they focus too much on the job profiles and less on the skills needed to perform the job. Also partners, sometimes they don't have a very clear understanding of how one role complements or helps towards the business model or the business goals. And for example, they might look for a technical profile because this is what we think, what we need, but in the end, what we're trying to find is people that can understand business processes and translate them into client solution. And it's natural that technical people want to hire more technical profiles. In the end, they understand coding, and many of us believe that this business is about coding, but that's actually where the problem begins. So, what I want to say to you is that this business is not just about code, it's about finding solutions for your clients. And you need people who understand this and are able to translate them into actionable and solutions and communicate them clearly with your clients. And that's what I call complementary profiles. So what I mean by complementary profiles is from now on, I want you to think of your Odoo team like a group of superheroes. So in order for you to win this battle, you need a diverse set of superpowers. So imagine if everybody has the same superpower, then your team is very limited. The same thing happens with an Odoo team. So you need when you're building this team, you also need a diverse set of skills. Like for example, you need salespeople, you need business analysts, you need tech people, because in the end, each one brings value to the table. For example, we have, Mr. Sales. Well, Mr. Sales, the dedicated person, their superpower is to generate leads and drive your business toward your financial goals. They know how to contact clients, they build relationships, and of course they close deals. And without a strong focus, as you know, it's very hard to keep a steady flow of projects to grow your business. And then on the other side, we have a project leader. So the project leaders, they have the superpower in managing the consulting side of your business. So they ensure that projects are implemented on time and on budget, and they find actually upselling opportunities to grow existing relationships. So now that we've covered a bit of like, okay, so maybe the mindset, what maybe need to change the mindset, and the profiles are very important for you. Now let's look at some ideas when it comes to the process, the recruiting, the methodology. Okay, so before I jump in a bit more on the Odoo perspective, I want to pose you a question. So what do you think is the average time to find this kind of candidate? So 5 years of experience with Odoo, certified, and that has both technical and functional expertise. Who thinks it takes about a month? Who thinks it might take about 3 months? What about 6 months? Actually, if you think that it will take you less than a year, you need to assess your expectations. And why this is happening? Well, let's look at the numbers. The market for ERPs, including Odoo, is skyrocketing. So as more companies recognize the value and the need for efficient business tools and solutions, the demand for this skilled professional is skyrocketing. This means that not only is challenging to find experienced Odoo candidates, but the competition for them is so fierce. This means that waiting for that unicorn candidate might just leave you waiting. So what I suggest is that we take a look at a more practical approach to hiring. So at Odoo, we take a completely different approach. So for example, we recognize that seeking candidates with direct experience, with Odoo experience, is very limiting. And we believe that a flashy resume doesn't necessarily translate into real world success. So we don't do this. And it's true that while CVs give you an idea of formal education and past roles, they often fail to capture the true candidates' competencies like creativity, problem solving, and we emphasize a lot in the practical side of doing real life scenarios rather than simply just ticking a couple of boxes. This approach has actually allows us to build a more capable, stronger, and more adaptable team, and we are ready to embrace changes. So what are some of the most important skills that every Odooer out there should have? Well, on one hand, we have curiosity. Curiosity in the world of ERPs, because things evolve very, very fast. We want team members to be genuinely interested and curious about how business work and how our solutions can make a difference. A fast learner, because this is a world that is so dynamic, it changes so fast, and there's no room for somebody who has this learn once mentality. We need team members who can adapt quickly and embrace new challenges. And then concise. When I mean concise, it's concise communication, because we need to translate very complex ideas into solutions in order for us to make sure that our clients and us, we're on the same page. But going back to our superheroes, so what are some of the skills needed, for example, for salespeople? Well, a salesperson should genuinely like people, that's one, but also they should really enjoy the sales process, and actually they should even have a talent for strategic consulting. This passion obviously will translate into better client relationships and more effective solutions. And what I'm going to say is very crucial as well. is the fact that if this salesperson is not able to demonstrate the solutions, in this case Odoo, they won't be able to address the client's needs and much less present a good implementation project. So demos, we believe, is where the magic happens. And also, very important, it's a good salesperson should be a natural storyteller. And if you want to attract this profile, so if you want to understand a bit of what, their motivations and so on, focus on a couple of things. Offer solid training and development because these are very ambitious individuals. Also, they're very social, so hosting a lot of events and having a lively culture, it will attract them. And it's also very important that you recognize somehow in the form of rewards their achievement. Why? Because this not only appeals to their growth ambition, but also it makes them feel valued. Remember, these are very competitive individuals and they like to be the center of attention. And what about project leaders or business analysts? Well, actually, business analysts, they should be very good listeners. They should, listen before speaking, and they have very good communication skills because in the end, they need to have a consultative and strategic mindset, and they need to guide clients effectively. Experience, of course, across different industries is very important because in the end, that's where all the insights and all the knowledge will come to solve those struggles. And something that you should know when it comes to personality and what drives them and how to attract them is the fact that, from my experience, is that most of the business analysts, they lean towards a more introvert personalities, and actually they find a lot of meaning in their work. So for them it's very important that what you're doing creates impact. Also, they see learning as a way to grow, and that's why it's also very important for them to have diversity in the kind of projects that they are approaching. And also, something that you should know when it comes to company culture is that they prefer collaborative environments, and work-life balance is extremely important for them. A salesperson might party until 4 in the morning, and they don't, it's their thing, but this kind of profiles, maybe it's not what makes them tick. So now that we looked at some of the skills, now why don't we talk about our approach to recruitment? So at Odoo, we do it a bit different in the sense that we focus on 3 main things. We try to act fast responses. We try to focus a lot on the applicant experience, and very important, we test the job. So what do I mean by fast response? So at Odoo, we try to call candidates within 48 hours of application, and we try to keep interviews between 1 and 3. Also, we like to wrap up the entire process in about 2 weeks. So quick, efficient, and straight to the point, like Odoo. And then the applicant experience. For us is very important. We even have a very user-friendly application, the website. We try to make interviews dynamic and fun. And for example, how many of us went to an interview and they never got called back, or they never got feedback, the good or the bad? We just never heard about it. How frustrating is that? I've lived it. And at Odoo, it is actually part of our commitment to applicants. We actually call them back and we tell them the good and the constructive, no matter the decision that we took. Also, something very important is the transparency throughout the process. We even have a salary configured at every single job posting. And then we go back to testing the job. This is probably the most crucial part. So, for example, for salespeople, we do something like, okay, prepare a presentation. So we want to see their public speaking and prepare a demo, right? So there's nothing better than seeing how they react to stress and how they handle real life scenarios. And then also we like to throw in a lot of behavioral questions. Like, for example, imagine for consultants, we would be like, so we have a client, you already went live and they start adding or changing the scope or adding just random requirements. How will you handle that? Okay, so this is a great way to assess problem solving and adaptability in the end. And actually you might find this funny because all of you are partners, but for example, when we do hiring in partner management, because you know we do sales and we do partner management, we ask questions like, okay, imagine I'm a super angry partner, I'm like, I want leads, how come I never get leads? How will you handle that? This is the kind of questions because we want to see live how they would react to everyday situations. Okay, so we've spoken a lot about the process, the skills, and some ideas, but I'm sure some of you are also here because they want to know some ideas of like, okay, so how do I find them? How do I go about sourcing? So the good news is that we're going back to one of my favorite topics, which is marketing. So from now on, please think of your sourcing strategy like any marketing strategy. Before you would think about like, okay, so how do I attract new clients? From now on, I want you to stop thinking like that and try to think about how to attract candidates. At Odoo, we take this approach very seriously. We even have a a marketing person in charge of finding initiatives and so on to recruit people. And actually, she gave me a lot of pointers on what actually works for us. So something that was really mind-blowing was the fact that 40% of our employees come from recruitment, from referrals. So what does this mean for you is that you're having a strong advocates and having your employees refer you. It's probably the most powerful tool for you to source. I'm sure you've seen this application before. This application, we use it a lot in Odoo because it even gives a monetary reward to the people referring. And if there's something that I know about partners is that a lot of the generation of new business comes from client referrals. So why don't take the same approach with employees to get new hires? And going back to visibility, we do a lot of events, visibility. We do the same for recruitment. For example, sometimes we organize like skip the process, and this was really nice for support because we invited people to solve a use case, and the ones who were successful at it, they actually went home with a job offer. Or we do like a coding contest for tech profiles. Or we do Odoo for a day for commercial and functional profiles, and they get to see really like what it takes to be Odoo and what we do, you know, live and so on, and it's super interesting. And then for students, for example, Upper Odoo is great. I mean, students love beer and they drop by to have a beer with us while job searching. I mean, it's a win-win. And as of this year, we have this really interesting initiative that is called Class to Career, and it will be a collaboration with partners. This is basically, Odoo will go to institutions like universities and so on to provide with a functional Odoo course, and it's really a win-win. So for example, for students, they complete an Odoo course and get on the radar for partners hiring. Institutions, of course, they want students to get hired, and partners, well, you get an access to a pool of students with certification, and it makes it easier for you to find also your new hires. So, unfortunately, this is time to wrap up. So, remember to treat your strategy like any other marketing strategy. Make sure to be visible, to focus on building a strong brand image, and let your employees refer you. Be creative and don't be afraid to think outside the box, whether it's about the events, whether it's about the recruitment process, really don't be afraid to experiment. And then, most importantly, if you want to future-proof your team, test the skills. And how do you test the skills? Well, let them do the job in front of you. So don't take their word for them. Actually, let them show you what they're made of. Thank you. So again, feel free to scan the code if you have any questions.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Yeah, everybody can hear me. Thank you so much. I'm gonna look at the board now. If you guys have questions, you'd like to raise your hand, I can also, you can also come in the front. What are the main challenges you have faced as a partner coach?
As a partner coach, well, I think it's like everything. Change management is, it's probably the most challenging part because we're used to doing things one way, and sometimes changing the direction of recruitment also implies a change in the business model. So I think it's a lot to process, a lot to take in, and this is probably the most challenging.
Thank you. Sorry, it looks like somebody deleted the whole chat. If somebody mistakenly deleted the whole chat, could you click on CTRL-Z, please, to revert back? That would be great. But other people are still typing, so.
Oh, they're still typing. Okay.
Yes, yes, yes. Something happens. All right, we have another question. Just give a second. Okay. What would the first hire look like to you?
A what?
A first hire.
A
in
first,
a team. Yes.
A first hire, like
for example, becoming a team of 2. So you're a first person, and you have to hire a second person.
Ah, right. Okay. Well, it's a good question. I think it's, if you want to hire, let's say, the head of one department, well, you need to have somebody who's the best of that example, because in the end is the person who, like, for example, you want a salesperson to hire more salespeople, make sure that person is excellent in sales, of course. So how are you going to test good sales skills unless you're very good at it?
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
There is another interesting question here. Can partners get access to questionnaires, use cases used when we hire a consultant at Odoo?
Yeah, of course. We're always happy to give, examples, and as you know, every single one of you has a partner manager, and partner managers are always trying to help. In the end, they're strategic consultants for you as well, for your business model. So if you have any specific questions of look, I'm looking for business analysts, what kind of questions do you actually do, behavioral. Otherwise, one tip that I can give you on the new methodology book by Fabien, he puts a lot of behavior questions. I even put a screenshot of one of them. Why don't you try testing the candidates on it? Like, what will you do if a client doesn't want to change? I don't know, just test it out. Behavioral questions, why don't you use the methodology book? I think it's a very good example, yeah.
Thank you. Well, maybe one thing to note as well is if they had experience actually in the Odoo company, that could be a risk because you might not be able to assess them properly because they already know the questionnaires. That could happen as well.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's just on the booklet. It's just a behavioral question. You can even make it more specific. Why not even you already have as a client, for example? Why don't you do a fake based on a real life scenario? Tell the consultant, okay, so these are the requirements. Ask me questions and see how they adapt. Are they curious? How well are they prepared to do the demo when they need to solve the use case? Ask behavioral questions like, okay, what if I change requirements? What would they do? Would they give in, or do they have a different approach? Test it.
Right. Thank you so much.
Okay, well.
Do we still have time for one more question? No, sorry. There are more questions in the pipe, so thank you for that.
If you have any questions, I'll just be outside.
Exactly.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.